Hello everyone, V the Amazing Greek here. Today I'm going to be making a video, or I am making this video, on how to make flails, F-L-A-I-L-S. This is a video that I've had a few people request. They saw the flails in my weapon collection, and so I was going to go over the basics, the different kinds that you can make, some ideas on how to construct them, and different ways to make the ends. So I'll start off with the most basic flail and then some fancy stuff. Basically a flail is a handled, various length. On the end you have a section of chain and then a weighted end, another chunk of steel on the end if you have the steel. And this is a weapon that you swing almost like a nunchuck, like this. And the good thing about this weapon versus, say, a mace, when you swing the mace, if somebody has a shield or goes to block it somehow with another weapon, say, they have a pole and they block the mace hit, the beauty of this is, say something is in the way, it comes right around over the top. So even if they go to block like this, you could hit them in the face, in the head, in the arm, something like that. This is the most basic style. It's simply metal tube that it has a little bit of a plastic coating on it. And this is, to make it stronger, I have a tube inside of a tube, like this. Basically this, with another piece that fits in, to give it a little bit more strength, a little bit of weight to it. It'll be a little bit less likely on this thinner type metal, the conduit, to bend if it takes an impact. That would help it out a little bit. And you could even put another small one in there if you wanted. We'll go over that in a moment. So this is the most basic style. One of the things you want to keep in mind when you construct a mace, a flail, where you're holding it, if you miss, you go to swing and it miss, this thing keeps swinging around. So you want to make sure that where your handle is, and designate that somehow. Here I have a little line. I miss, you hear that? It's not hitting my hand. Being that it's flat, it would hurt a little, but on something with spikes or blades, you do not want your hand here and then you miss, because then now you are taking the damage, and you don't want that. So you need to keep that in mind. Your chain length needs to be appropriate for your end, as not to hit your hand when you use it. This one is constructed using a bolt drilled through both pieces of pipe, and the bolt is a diameter that will fit into the chain links that I'm using. This is not really appropriate for a good flail. This is a type of chain that's bent around, to make the links. Excuse me. This is just something. These are the type that I make for the workplace. When I have my own toolbox, I always have some type of weapon in there as a self-defense, paranoia, because I've been working at places where estranged spouses come in and start raising hell and stuff. You never know, some crazy person come in with a knife or a gun or something. And I'm not saying this is adequate protection against a gun. I'm just saying, if you're hiding, some guy walks past you with a gun, I'm not going to be at work defenseless, regardless of what policy is. That's just, V's not going to do that. So most basic flail, bolts holding it in, double layered pipe, give it a little bit of weight, no problem. And again, see, not hitting my own hand. Now, our next style, this is much thicker pipe. This is pipe, that's conduit, this is pipe. This one has welded chain, the welded links, so it's not going to pull apart on me under stress. I have a little butt cap on there just as a hand stoppage, decoration-y. And again, I can grip it up high, down low. I'm not going to get hit with the spikes. These are nails. I drilled holes in the piece that I cut off of here, and put the nails in there with the heads chopped off, and then welded them on. Like that, see? These are not super thick nails, so they could bend on impact if you hit a brick wall. Say you miss, you hit the brick wall. But this type also, if you hit into wood, the nails could stick. I'm sure they would. I'm going to do this by hand just to see. I made it. Well, it's making holes, but I'm a little scared to just sling this thing. First, I want to bust the light, and I don't want to get hit in the head. I actually one time was making a mace, had made it, went outside, started banging around. The head broke off, and it hit me right between the eyes with the spike. So I'm a little hesitant without headgear. But it is making nice little holes just with my hand, you know, doing like that. Of course, how hard are you going to drive a nail with just driving it with your hand? But this one does not use bolts. The chain is appropriate to go in the diameter of the hole of my pipe. And then I drilled a hole that was the diameter of some metal rods that I had. So I cut me a length of rod a little bit wider than my pipe is across, and I pounded the ends down a little bit on each side and mushroomed them out through the chain link. Now that way it's all kind of smooth and more traditional way of making. Of course I want to have metal pipe, but it looks better than the bolts. It's a little smoother, see? Looks a little better, I think. It's got a good weight to it. Again, hand length. I'm making sure that my hand doesn't get hit with the spikes, because that would hurt. That's another style you can make right here. Again, piece of rod through here, hammered down on both ends to mushroom it out so that it doesn't slide out during impact or swinging this thing around. Of course, this one had to have a welder to do this. If you wanted to put a piece of wood and drive nails into it and then cut the ends off, that would work. The nails would give it a little bit of weight. Attaching it on the end, that might be a little more difficult. What you could do is when you go to drive your last set of nails here, the last two, you could take a piece of metal sheeting, not too thin, and bend it like this and have holes drilled so that where your nails are going to go, drive them in, and then before you put the nails in, your strip needs to be wide enough for your chain to go through. So you would have your metal piece, have it fit here, and before you nail it on or bolt it on, however you're going to do, slide your chain over that. That way the chain is attached across your metal that you've got here, your little metal loop, and then it has a way to attach. You don't want to use something like a eye bolt where you screw it into the end and it's got that little, you know, it's got the circular piece like you put up and you hang a flower and stuff on, because a couple of good swings with that, that's going to rip right out, and that wouldn't be very effective. You get a couple good hits, that's about it. Of course, this one requires welding the way I did it, no problem, if you have access to a welder. I know in our town there's a couple guys that do welding work. Something like that, I'm sure they wouldn't charge you $10, $15 to make that. You're like, here's the pieces, I just need it welded like that. And then I'm sure somebody could do that for you cheap. I would do it for somebody, you know, if they paid me. This is a little fancier, a little more dangerous. This one, I miscalculated when I made it, and very dangerous because to get a good grip on this, I am right here at the blade's edges, see? This is a solid steel core with slots that I milled into it. Then I made 4 blades. See them there? 4 blades. I welded them into position. And then, being that this was a solid core rod for my the head of my flail, I welded my chain link into here. I actually drilled a little hole so that I could set my link down in there, and then I welded around. And then again up here, I made a slot, put my link, and I welded it on. This one happens to be a splined rod. That means that it has raised ridges here, so that when you put it into a receiver in, things can spin together. That's what that is. Then I did a little bit of work on the lathe to give it a nice little handle. This is very nice. I've never swung this one around and hit things. The others I have. This one scares the hell out of me. If I miss, I don't want to hit my hand and hurt myself. And again, without a headgear, it's a little scary. I mean, that coming at you, that's almost 3 to 4 pounds, that piece right there, plus it's edged. But it's very nice. That's an awesome showpiece, you know. If I clean it up a little bit, spray some WD-40, stop it from rust inhibitor. That'd be nice on like a plaque or something in the house, and also very dangerous. So that's one way to do it, with the welds on solid rod. And this is one of my favorite ones here. I call this one a war flail because it has 2 heads on it, heavy pipe, good thick chain. Again, it has the rod driven through it and then hammered out on both sides to mushroom so that it does not fall off. And this one versus this one, you can see the size difference. Much better reach. Much better reach. You can really reach out and smash someone. See, I can get 2-handed grip, get down here, and that's with the chain not extend. I mean, once you get this thing to swinging, you can generate a great amount of force. Nunchucks, when they're used, even in the hands of a non-professional, these things can generate, when you start whipping them around, 1,600 pounds per square inch of force. And that will break bones, that will smash heads. And that's with this short distance. Now think with this, how much force you could generate. I would like to have a machine where you could hit it and see exactly what you're doing, because right here I got a limited range of motion. You know, I just got this little bit to work with. This, I mean, this is like a baseball bat. If you're coming at me and I swing this at you, that's done, dude. And I can hit you in the legs, even if it doesn't hit directly, with the good length of chain we got here. I mean, you wrap around somebody's knee and then jerk them up. I mean, you're going to dislocate their knee. You're going to take them down. And it has that bolo effect right there, you know. So this is one of my favorites because, I mean, you can just batter up, you know, and you just wham, it's over. So these also have the rod hammered out to mushroom so that it does not come undone. Now, I don't have thick, heavy pipe like that. No problem. Here's some things you can do. They sell this stuff, Lowe's, Home Depot, any place, in various sizes. These are piping, like when you do your plumbing. You know, you put the pieces together, make the shapes you need for your bathroom, whatever you're doing, your kitchen. And then you can get caps for them. So, I'm going to do this one since I have a cap. I don't have a cap for this one, but size doesn't matter in this. What you can do, get you a cap, you seal the bottom. That right there is going to give you a good nub. Then, depending on the length you have, of course we're going to drill a hole so we can put our chain in there and either use a bolt, or if you can get your hands on some rodding or some rod, pound it. You can add weight to this. Get you a bolt or all thread like I have. You could cut the head off a bolt with a hacksaw. Put that down in there, mark, and you want to go below where your hole is. Cut your rod. You could put it in there, then put your chain, attach it, and that gives you extra weight. And I was thinking today, you could also, if you had it, say concrete, if you and your friends were all going to make some, you have 4 or 5 buddies want to make these, you could cap it, mix up some concrete, and pour it in. Drill your hole first so you know kind of where to stop. Fill that with concrete. Then you basically have a brick inside of a piece of steel. That would be devastating and freaking awesome, I think. That would be awesome. This stuff, you know, $3, $4 a piece, and then maybe $1 or so for the caps. I would have to check the prices on that. But think of that with a cap on it filled with concrete. That would freaking hurt. It'd be like hitting somebody with a weight. The old style weights, plastic coated concrete. That, or like I said, you can get your, this is a heavy all thread to fit in here. Cut your appropriate length, have your hole drilled, you got a cap, and then that's just a lot of weight. You know, this, then add this. That's very good stuff right there. So, and then of course, I like the welded chain. It's much stronger. You know, it's not going to give out on you. And of course, I don't go buy things to make the weapons I got. A lot of the stuff, unless it's something very specific I have in mind, junk. We don't need this used. Throw it away. I'll take it. I can use it for something, you know. We can't use a piece of all thread that long. We need 3-foot sections. I'll take it. I can use it for something, you know. All my maces, that was scrap metal all thread that they threw away. They couldn't use sections like that. They needed really tall sections, and what I got was a scrap. And you saw the maces I made out of that. It's a $15 project, and I got all the stuff for free. So the chain, that's the one thing you probably have to buy. Not a lot of people throw away chain, you know, a good usable section of it. You can always use chain for something. So that might be the one thing that'll cost you. The thicker the chain and the bigger the links and the more weight it can hold, it goes up per foot. That's how they sell it. So if you're just going to make one flail, go buy you a foot or two. And it won't be that expensive like that. You know, instead of buying 15 foot of chain, you don't really need it unless you're going to make flails and sell them to your buddies. Then, like I said, using conduit style, it will work. This isn't, your handle typically isn't going to take impact unless you miss and hit something. You know, you're typically not going to hit things and ding it unless somebody tries to block. But with this weapon, you have the reach advantage. If they're coming at you, you know, you nail them before they ever get to you. Also, if you're going to use bolts, make sure before you just go grab some bolts, you want the bolt to be longer than the diameter of your pipe so that you can put it on there, cinch it down. And if you don't want the bolt to back off, make sure you put a lock washer underneath the nut. Lock washer's a not completely flat one with the split and it's angled over. That way you put that, put your nut, and it won't back off. You can also ping it with a punch. Once you get it in there, knock the thread in here with a punch. That way it doesn't back out. It's real simple stuff, but if you've never seen it, you don't know. So that's how you do it. Like I said, you can make all kinds. Regular head, spiked. If you got a welder, or you know, like I said with the wood, you could create one. If you really got time, you could make this style. This is my favorite. I'll probably make a couple more like this. I like the length. I like the weight on here, and it's just a good way to do it. I was thinking today different ways to modify your head. If you don't have a welder or want to do like this, you could drill holes at predetermined distances. Say I wanted to go, you know, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and I could put bolts with a little bit of the bolt head sticking up, and then 90 degrees I could go in between those, and then I would have a flail head that had nubs sticking out, kind of like the studded nunchucks, except a little more extreme. It would be like this. So now, instead of hitting with a flat surface, you now have nubs that would it would hurt when it hits. And all that impact force now is not spread over this distance. You know, say you're hitting with, we're just going to make up a number, 50 pounds per square inch, you know, per square inch, however that works out, you know. Now you're putting all that pressure into this point. And instead of a smack like this hitting, you're hitting like this, you know. So you got that nub. Would it hurt more if I slap you or if I hit you with the knuckles? Think like that. And if you're going to do that, the best kind of bolt would not be necessarily with a flat head like this, because it's going to kind of sit like this. I personally would use an Allen bolt because it has the raised head for the Allen wrench to sit in it. And then you've got your nubs for when you impact. So that's just something to think about. Like I said, you can weight them down with metal. You can weight them down with concrete. If you got concrete, know how to make that stuff up. You're only limited by your imagination. And if anybody's going to make one or anything like that, I'd love to see your version of it. Some fancy stuff. If somebody's kind of artistic and making this stuff, mine's kind of functional. I've never made like a, you know, a Renaissance, go to the fair and, oh, look how fancy I am. I never did like that, but you could do it. You could make some fancy stuff. And if you have any questions, I'm trying to do this. Do you have any ideas? I'd be glad to answer them. I'd love to see your projects if you make them. So it's that simple. I hope I helped somebody, and the people that wanted to see this, I hope that explains a little bit how to construct this stuff. And just be careful when you swing these things around. I would say safety glasses. Please, safety glasses, because if anything breaks, you know, taking a nail to the hand is one thing. You'll recover. It'll hurt. You'll be fine. Taking a nail to the eye, that shit ain't even funny, you know. You'll be blind. You'll be walking around like this, you know. No depth perception. So, you know, you don't want that. Be safe if you're going out and you're actually testing these things. And please don't hit your friends with them just to see how much damage you can do. If you wanted to make one of these for, say, LARP or something like that, I don't know all the rules, or if you and your friends just fight with weapons. We used to do it when I was a kid. It was wooden swords and stuff. That shit hurts. Later I learned you're supposed to pat them with foam. We didn't do that. It wouldn't be anything to tie a loop in rope. You can make the handle out of anything. Loop the rope on each end. You can make loops. And this end, you could have a thin wooden dowel, wrap it in foam and tape it up. That way, at least when you're hitting somebody, it's a little foamy, you know. You can smack them around a little bit. Wouldn't hurt that bad with a wooden dowel. Now, I wouldn't put a piece of metal in there. You know, that could hurt somebody. But that's just something you could do, I guess, if you're into that. I've gotten out of that as I've got older because the injuries take a little bit longer to heal. So hope that helps somebody. Hope you learned something. Hope you like it. Oh, the reason I have these out. I made these kind of super heavy duty chucks. This is hardcore stuff. I mean, this is not play. This is heavy duty pipe. A little bit heavy for chucks, and it hurts when you hit yourself with them. But my thinking is, this just has spring pins in it. I think I'm going to take the pins out, put good chain, put the pin back in, and then cut it about here. Like I said, don't want to hit my hand. That's a nice little pocket flail, if there is such a term. I guess there is now. I just made it up. Like that. This is heavy enough. I mean, you got that in your pocket, you know, or jacket, whatever. That's a devastating weapon. Not a nunchuck. It's a Chuck Jr. or whatever. That would fuck somebody up. You'd knock their damn teeth out their mouth. They'd think twice about trying to take your damn wallet with a knife. So, just something to think of. That's what I'll carry. You know, law may say no, but I don't want to die. I always carry weapons on me. So, something to think about. Like I said, hope you like it. I think I'm rambling on here now. But, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Oh, one thing I want to say. I just now today found out after the YouTube changes how to see my comments on my channel. So I apologize to anyone who left comments and was asking things or making comments. I didn't respond. Today I checked my emails and said, you have a comment. I was like, where the hell are all these comments at? So I finally figured out where those are, and I will be checking those more often and responding. I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I try to respond to everybody, you know, that is asking something or commenting. Other than, you know, good job. Even then, I'll say thanks. But that's my take on this. If anybody's made stuff like this or has a kick-ass way of doing it, even simpler, I don't know how much simpler it can get, let me know. Share it with us. We'd love to see it. Video responses are always welcome, as are your comments. And yeah, my shirt's dirty and it's got a spot, so I can beat anybody to that before those douches make comments. I actually worked today, so thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope I helped somebody out. I'll catch you guys later. Good Lord.